Here is an idea.
Okay,
Thought,
okay,
okay,
let's hear it.
'cause we could just be like, okay, did this meet expectations? Was this a
Mm,
boom or was this a bust? Which is
that's
fantasy football
perfect.
talk.
Oh, that's
And then so we can do that, and then we can do the same thing when we're looking ahead as
I
well.
totally agree.
Mhm.
I like that a lot. Okay,
Cool.
so I'll rattle these off. Here's what I'm going to try and do. I'm going to try and group them in the time of the year that they came out. All right, so these are all 2023, the movies and TV shows that came out. Again, this is not a comprehensive, literally everything that
No,
came out, but this
we
is,
have lives outside of this
believe it
podcast.
or not, we do. And so this is more in line with content that we've discussed previously. It's obviously stuff that one or both of us have seen, right? So there
Absolutely.
shouldn't be any surprises here. So let's start in the springtime of 2023. All right, so we're going to rattle off three here. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, which came out February 17th. Mandalorian, season 3, episode 1 dropped March 1st. And then Shazam, Fury of the Gods, that dropped March 17th. So we've got a Marvel movie, a Star Wars show, and a DC movie that kind of got us going
And
early 2023.
these boom or busts are based on our expectations.
100%. So let's start with Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. Riles, you go first. Boomer bust for you.
Absolute bust.
Mhm.
This was a bust. The way that this was built up with Kang, it should have been a lot better than it was. They had some opportunities that just felt missed.
Yep.
For what now? Again, it's a movie I would probably rewatch. Don't get me wrong, but there's a lot about this movie that just did not meet the hype or the expectations. So for me, it was a bust.
Yeah, this is a bust as well. And mind you, with I would say modest expectations, and it still didn't meet them. And what I mean by that is this has always felt like an odd place for a character that is supposed to have the significance of Kang to be introduced to fandom as a whole, right? Because unless you're someone that watched Loki season 1, which most Marvel fans didn't, and that's totally okay. You don't even know about Kang as a character,
Mhm.
right? And he wasn't even referred to as Kang in Loki season 1. It was He Who Remains. So when you're introducing and trying to set a foundation for such a character and villain in particular of significance, it's going to be tricky when you're partnering them up with a character that is not an A-list superhero in Ant-Man. And listen, the two previous Ant-Man movies have been perfectly fine, right? Like they've been passes. I think people mostly I probably enjoyed the first one more. I did not enjoy the second one,
Agreed.
but it was kind of filler. Here, this just was never a good partnership. And not only was it not a good partnership, but they committed the sin that we referenced earlier with Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom of you dispatched the villain far too easily.
Uh-huh.
Kang, this version of Kang, he cannot be beaten at the end of this movie. And he's beat, and by beaten, we presume dead.
Luckily.
That can't happen.
Luckily
That
killed.
can't Yes. That absolutely can't happen. The best case scenario here would have been for Ant-Man and the Wasp to have escaped like by the hair of their chinny chin chims, beaten and bruised, and Hank Pym was flat out murdered by Kang
Right.
in the quantum realm. And Ant-Man and the Wasp are coming back going, oh my gosh, we have to tell people that he's coming. Like he can't stay trapped in the quantum realm. So this was a miss, absolutely a bust all the way around.
Bust.
Okay, Mandalorian season 3. I'll go first here. I thought this was a boom. I really enjoyed this. Now, I have found Star Wars content to be, for most of my life, extraordinarily divisive among fans. Like people either love it or hate it. There's
Right.
very little middle ground. I have come into each Mandalorian season with not low, but again, just really modest, neutral expectations. I really enjoyed season 3. I loved the expansion of the Mandalorian uh, people and the return to the home world. Bo-Katan Kreese rather. This was almost a show or season more about her than about our dear beloved Mando.
Mhm.
Grogu coming back into the fold was forced, but listen, it's still a pairing that works with him and Mando. So I enjoyed season 3 quite a bit. For me, this was a boom. I thought the action was great. I enjoyed it.
I loved it, but for me, it met expectations because I hold that series to a high standard, anyways. And there wasn't anything that like was like crazy for me.
Mm.
I will say what kept this from being a boom
Yep.
is the fact that we went to clones again. That was tough for me.
Freaking clones.
And
man.
then it was like a weird, like,
Yep.
kind of like throwaway thing. So it's like, why even bring it up in the first place that you're doing it?
Sure.
And
Sure.
yeah, I want Grogu to be an adult so bad. So that's where I'm at. I'm excited to see where it goes next.
Yep.
So
Okay.
met expectations.
Yep. Mando season 3. Cool. All right. Shazam! Fury of the Gods. What did you think about this one, bud?
I gotta say bust.
Okay.
I gotta say bust. I was borderline with met expectations on this, but it's just
That's where it was for me. Was met expectations. My expectations weren't high, and it met them on account of them being low. Had I come in with higher expectations, I probably would have been bummed. It was not at the same quality as the first one.
You know
It
what?
was not.
You know what? I will change my answer to met
That's fine.
expectations.
Join the group. Join the group.
It's because I remember coming in with 0
Mhm.
and kind of leaving with like that was there.
Yeah. Common theme here on these busts or even meeting expectations is the villain was just meh. And that was the case here. The adversaries were just meh, in my opinion.
Well, one went to the good side. One eventually went to the good side, and then the other one was just kind of angry.
Right. Just mad. Like very underdeveloped motives. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
All right, so let's move on to a little bit later in the springtime. We're coming up on the summertime here. How about the Super Mario Bros. Movie? It came out April 5th, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. What do you think of those, Riles?
Super Mario Brothers, absolute boom.
Mm-hmm.
That was a boom for me
Yep.
because video game movies scared the bejesus out of me.
They're usually not very
They
good.
usually are busts
Yep.
a mile wide,
Yep.
and you'd see them get announced, and you're like,
It's going to be bad.
you're like, what? No, especially when it's a game you really love, and you're like,
Right.
no.
Right.
But this was above and beyond expectations. The voice cast nailed it.
Mm.
Don't care what anybody says about Chris Pratt voicing Mario. I think he was fine.
He was great.
So
He was great. I agree. This is
absolute boom.
This is a boom as well. It was what it needed to be. It was fun. It didn't take itself too seriously. I enjoyed that it incorporated more than just the Super Mario Bros. Like the Donkey Kong inclusion was fantastic. It was fun. It just truly was fun. I enjoyed watching it with my son. He had a good time with it. So that's what a kids movie primarily targeted towards kids and based on a video game should be. It's fun.
And I've said it before, and I'll say it again, and till the end of time. If Jack Black is in the movie, I'm gonna go watch it because it's Jack Black.
What an inspired choice for Bowser, by the way.
Oh, 100%. Did you see for the sequel, he wants it to be called Bowser's Revenge and the whole thing to be a musical? I'm 100% all in, by the way. 100%.
You can't hate
So-
that idea. No. That's great. All right, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I mean, this is a boom.
It's 100% a boom.
Yeah. This
Expectations
movie
were
was
high,
incredible.
and they blasted it through the roof.
This is incredible.
Absolute
And
boom.
another, a send-off for James Gunn for the whole cast. Is what we assume is the majority of the cast. And they absolutely crushed it with a story about a CGI raccoon in his origin. Are you kidding?
If you can make a raccoon appealing to me, then
Mhm.
congrats. That's a boom.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to spend a lot of time on this one because we've spent plenty of time on it previously, and I imagine it'll come up in the top 5 range. But what a great film! Terrific action, great story. Really, no complaints here. It was tremendous. All right, let's move into the month of June. We got a quadruple hit here. We'll hit a few. Across the Spider-Verse came out June 2nd. Transformers Rise of the Beasts came out on June 9th. You saw that one. I did not. And then, of course, the movie of the summer, The Flash, came out on June 16th. And let's, just for funsies, let's throw in Secret Invasion, which came out on June 21st. Yeesh. So let's start positive. Across the Spider-Verse. Boomer.
Boom.
Hello.
100% boom.
Wow.
Again,
Yeah.
we knew it was going to be good, and it was even better than expected.
It was great. The only disappointment is a cliffhanger.
Yep.
And so now we're just left.
Waiting for the next one.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. It was tremendous. Transformers Rise of the Beasts. You had a chance to see it. I did not take the opportunity to see it. What'd you think?
Boom.
Yeah.
That's a boom for me.
Great.
So my expectations were neutral,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, you know what? I came out of that. I'm like, this is exactly what I wanted from a Transformers movie. I just wanted
Right.
a bunch of explosions and people beat each other up.
Right.
This nailed it.
Right.
I'm all in.
Was it, now remind me, was this set
In the 90s.
in the 90s? Okay, so prior to the
Prior
Michael
to the-
Bay.
Yes.
Yep.
Michael Bay
Yep.
was on this project, but he was not the director. He was just the producer. Executive producer. So
That's great.
yes, it was solid.
I'm glad that it was what it was supposed to be, because when the Transformers movies have been, I'm going to say, worth watching, they have not tried to be more than what they are, which is giant robots battling other giant robots.
And they let a different robot shine.
Mm.
You know, it wasn't like the Bumblebee show like it
There you
normally
go.
is. You know, they
Right.
brought in Pete Davidson's voiced character, who was honestly a delight.
Mm.
And yeah, so
Yeah, they can
That's where
keep
I'm at.
they can keep cranking those movies out as long as they keep following the same formula, as
and
far as I'm concerned.
before anybody jumps on me, Bumblebee had great moments in that movie still. He just was not the focal.
Sure.
Like him coming back into the fight, beautiful. Absolutely phenomenal. So,
But it wasn't a Bumblebee movie that was called Transformers.
right.
Yeah, I get your distinction there. Okay, The Flash came out on June 16th.
Bust.
Yeah,
I had low expectations and somehow it shattered them.
it just wasn't good.
Bust.
Yeah, it just wasn't good. And
We don't need to give that movie any more life
No.
than that.
what an unfortunate waste of a character.
I wish I could go back in time and not have seen that movie.
Yeah. Speaking of waste of times, Secret Invasion.
Bust
Did you
again.
did you get through that? Did you end up watching that?
Yeah, I finished it.
Shoot, I'm sorry.
It was a bust.
I should have told you not to.
100% bust.
What, out of all of the movies and shows that we're going to cover here, right here, smack dab in the middle, are the two that really, like, The Flash shouldn't have existed because it was never going to mean anything beyond the Flash movie. And so it was pretty clear that the production of this movie was impacted by that lack of
So many
endurance,
things.
right? Secret Invasion, I think, for me, is worse because, for a number of reasons. One,
I would agree.
The Secret Invasion storyline from the comics is phenomenal. Took years of build-up and paid off in a phenomenal way in the comics. This was the microwaved version. And not only was it microwave, but you burned it. Like, you made microwave popcorn, you burned the freaking pop.
It was freezer burn because
It
it was
was-
so cold it was hot. You know what I mean?
Yes, it was just, it was rough. It wasn't, here's the deal. It really wasn't good from the jump. It never had, as I recall, it never had a moment that made you go, wow, that was really gripping. And it just stunk
It
from
was
start to finish.
It was not a story worth telling.
No, and you Nick Fury up with the Skrull, who's his wife. It did such a disservice to the character of Nick Fury, at minimum. And then, of course, you compound it with, as I just mentioned, the disservice to what should be a really rich storyline buildup. It just couldn't make up its mind what it wanted to do. At
Absolutely.
the end, it never should have existed.
Right. Yep.
So, all right. Moving on, late June, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny came out on June 30th. Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning, the 7th installment in the Mission Impossible franchise, came out on July 12th. Oppenheimer came out on July 21st. I finally got around to seeing Oppenheimer, so that's why I included it on this list. You saw Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. What did you think, my friend?
That was a boom.
Hey,
My expectations were not the greatest. Like, don't get me wrong, I was super excited about this movie, but
right,
I
but
was,
coming off of Crystal Skull.
I was worried.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know what they're going to do with this.
Right.
And by the way, the worst thing, well, not even the worst thing, at the beginning, they like tease like he was looking for the dagger that healed Jesus Christ
Okay.
inside his side.
Yep.
That was like what he was looking for originally.
Sure.
And then they're like, oh, but here's the dial too. And it's such a bummer because it's like
Mhm.
that would have been the perfect ending because
Mhm. Because it's always those scriptural references.
Right.
Yep.
the first
Yep.
tabernacle, the third one's the Holy Grail, and you're like,
Yep. Yep.
that'd
Yep.
be perfect.
Yep. Boy,
But-
what a tease.
Right. But anyways, whatever. You do what you need to do. But yes.
I'm glad it was a worthwhile ride. It's still on my list of movies that I need to watch. I haven't been avoiding it. I just have not prioritized it. So,
Absolutely fair.
and especially hearing your enthusiasm for it, I think I can still go into it with reasonable expectations and enjoy it.
It's not as good as the originals.
No,
It will
you
never
can't-
be.
No, you can't expect it to be. It just has to be, hey, can it add something to the story and have a good reason for existing?
Right.
Yeah. Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning. I went and saw that. Have you seen any of the Mission Impossible movies?
I've seen them here and there.
Here and there. Okay. Someday you'll have to give yourself that gift of
I
watching all of them.
I saw the one with Henry Cavill
There you go.
when he reloaded
Reloads
his
the
fists.
biceps. Hello. Yep. Great move. Really good movie. Now, it was billed as a part one of two, which again, hilarious because it's the seventh movie. So what are we really doing here? But it came in just shy of 3 hours. Like it was a freaking long movie. And so my take on it is gonna be met expectations. I would love to say boom, like the action, of course, was phenomenal. But when it's being so clearly partnered up with the movie that's to follow, I give it kind of an incomplete as far as my own response to it. It's chapter one of a chapter, of a two chapter or two part, as they're saying, story. So it was good. It was good, but I just don't know how to feel about it until I see the second part. So that's where I'm at with it. Oppenheimer, finally this past week, got around to seeing it. It's Christopher freaking Nolan. So of course it's going to be very well made. Another 3-hour banger. To his credit, like he takes a individual that I would imagine most folks don't have a whole lot of knowledge of heading into the movie, and it's very gripping in spite of it being very drama based for 3 hours. And most of the drama, like it's very character driven, it's interpersonal, because the part of the movie that has to do with Oppenheimer developing the atomic bomb, we all know how that ends, right? Boom, it blows up. They drop a couple on Japan, so there's really not a lot of, there shouldn't be, I should say, a lot of drama there. And yet, Chris, being the wizard that he is, still injects drama into that aspect of the story. So it was obviously terrific. My only regret is having not gotten around to seeing it in theaters. So I'll take that one to my grave. Moving on to the month of August. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem kicked off on August 2nd. Blue Beetle came out on August 18th. And Ashoka, August 22nd, saw episode 1 of what will be a multiple season show. Riles, what did you think of the Turtles?
Boom.
Yeah.
It's boom.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a few regrets in there, but definite boom. 100%.
Yeah. New direction for the franchise in some way. So I agree. A boom. They made the Turtles younger. So I'm looking forward to seeing what's to come. I thought they laid a good foundation. The animation was really terrific.
Mhm.
So totally agree.
I'm looking forward to the character development.
Yep. There's some necessary moves that need to happen there. Blue Beetle. I don't know. I need you to help me here. Guide me here.
This is a boom for me.
That's a boom for you?
It's 100% a boom.
Wow, good for
This
you.
could have been a bust. We could have came out of that movie being
There's
like,
no doubt.
what is this? Because it's Blue Beetle. Blue Beetle is not a very prominent, popular. Like, he's there and people like him, but he's not like,
Not a your own movie kind of character.
he's not an A-list
No.
character.
Not even a B list,
And-
really.
Right. And this for sure cemented him as a B-list.
Mhm.
Like, this is a guy I want to see come back.
Agreed.
I thought they nailed the family aspect of it.
Right.
I was super bummed when the dad died.
Yep.
Like,
Beat for dad.
for me, boom.
I'm going to agree with you on the boom aspect, because what I remember is, as you're speaking, is I remember you and I going into the movie saying, hey, we would love to come out of this movie wanting to see more of these characters in the future. And that is where it left us. So in that respect, and again, it's all relative to the expectations.
Outside of grandma.
Relative to the expectations, it was a boom. It did better than it should have with the characters. I have my own qualms with like the story, but as far as the characters were concerned, it introduced and established characters that we would enjoy seeing again and spending time with.
Absolutely.
So totally agree. Okay, Ahsoka for me was a boom, and I'm going into that show with very few expectations of Ahsoka as a character, the additional characters that obviously were introduced in the show Rebels. So it was, for me, it was just there or presented to me as a, hey, enjoy this if you will. And I did enjoy it. So for me, this was a boom. Ray Stevenson, his adversary, R.I.P. Ray, he was terrific in the show. So
Such a bummer.
it's
I haven't seen it, but he's a great actor.
Yeah, he was absolutely terrific. The character of Grand Admiral Thrawn, I know, is a huge part of the Rebels TV show. When he makes his first appearance in this show, he lives up to the billing, I think. So I thought Ahsoka was really solid. It gave some, I would say, some closure to the relationship between Ahsoka and Anakin. So it was a lot of fun to see Hayden Christensen get some quality time in there as Anakin. So for me, it was a boom. And again, Star Wars ends up being so divisive. I don't think this show deserves the vitriol that it's received. It's okay if you didn't love it, but to me, I don't know how you can watch it and not at least go, that's good. I thought it was really good. So there you go. Moving on to the last third of the year, Loki season 2, episode 1 dropped October 5th. The Marvels dropped on November 10th, and of course, Hawkman and the Lost Kingdom, September 22nd. Miles, you go first. Loki season 2, my man.
That was a boom.
Hello.
That's a boom.
Mm-hmm.
100%.
Yep. It was incredible, wasn't it?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
It felt like they brought Marvel back.
Yep. They certainly gave Marvel a chance. That's for sure. So totally agree on the boom front. The Marvels, I would say, met expectations. It's not in the boom territory for me. It's not in the bust territory for me. Truly, it could be a bust. It did not need to exist, but I enjoyed it. My expectations were really low. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would, and because of the characters. So it gave Captain Marvel a more, I'll spend some time with this character personality, so that was helpful. Ms. Marvel was a delight. And
Spectrum.
yeah, I was trying to remember her hero name. I was gonna say Rambeau, but Spectrum. Thank you. She got a little shortchanged here, I thought, but she was good. She just didn't have as much to do. Biggest regret is they just annihilated the villain at the end of the movie, which I thought was necessary. They need to kill her off. So for me, it met expectations. It was fine. What about you?
It was a boom for me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good for
The
you.
fact that I went into that movie hating Captain Marvel and I came out and I was like, I don't mind her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it redeemed Captain Marvel. It made me actually interested to go see Miss Marvel or watch the show.
There you go.
I haven't
Yep.
seen it. And I
Yep.
won't watch it for a while, but
Same. Yep.
I would at least, her character intrigues me enough to the point where if I see her in more stuff, maybe I'll go give season 1 a watch.
Right.
Right? And I already liked Spectrum. I thought she was great. So
Yep.
for you to redeem the Captain Marvel character, I think that alone gives you a boom.
That's fair.
She had emotions. It was fantastic.
She had
felt
layers.
guilty
Right.
for doing things. It was
Right.
great.
Yep.
She wasn't an arrogant asshole like she was in the first one. So
Yeah, it was much better beat for her character. That's a fair take. And of course, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. We're both on the boom front there, yeah.
I'm gonna say met expectations.
Oh, okay, interesting.
I'm gonna say met expectations.
Slightly controversial.
I didn't think this was gonna be bad,
Yep,
but it wasn't anything over the top either. Like
that's a very honest take by you.
yes. Like
Yep.
I enjoyed the first Aquaman, so I thought, you know what? I think this one's gonna be solid as well.
Yep.
It came out of that with the same thing. I'm gonna say met expectations on Aquaman too.
Okay. That's fair. I'm probably wanting to feel more positive about it, so I'm going to choose to say boom. But I don't disagree with anything that you just said there. So
Right.
really solid.
Well, that's 2023.
Hello.